right? So if you have a video sales letter funnel, or maybe a webinar funnel, or you have a group mastermind and having a live seminar where you're presenting to a big audience, then listen up, because this will change how you sell forever in any type of sales presentation. Now, welcome back to another episode of Inside the Mind of a Young Entrepreneur. In today's video, I will teach you why, even if you've shared your best bits in your sales presentation, and you know, like, when I say this will make the home run, and you stand there at the end of the presentation and you expected people to wave their card at you and throw it up to the scene or buy immediately, but you just stand there like a fool and feel like the biggest fraud because you've given out the best bits that almost this is what comes the closest to the silver bullet or the magic pill, and people don't take action and they just stand there and nothing happens. Then let me show you why this is. Because most people, what they do whenever they are presenting something is that they tell the facts, the thing that people needs to hear. But the thing is, 20%, if in order to change people's lives, and that's basically what we're doing, we want to make them change behavior and adapt this new thing that we are selling to them or we're helping them with. But the thing is, 20% of it is tactics. The other 80% is mindset. But how do you speak to people's mindset or their minds? See, basically what we're doing right now by just stating the facts, like we know this is going to change their life forever when they hear this tactic or this framework and they just do nothing. That's because you're speaking to the conscious mind, and the conscious mind speaks to you or the person in questions. It's just emotion and logic speaking to each other, chatting to each other. But what you're going to do in order to change this is speak to the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind speaks in stories. And that is why the thing is, facts tell, stories sell. So instead of just saying the facts, you have to wrap it around in a story or a parable. You see, great leaders or great speakers and all these influential people, they have a set of parable that they are teaching from. They're not just stating the facts and letting people grab it and process it. You're sort of helping them process it by wrapping it around in a parable. Let me show you an example. Because if you've read the book Think and Grow Rich, then state me the 17 laws of success. You probably can't. But if I ask you if you can tell me the story of Napoleon Hill, it will just come rapidly, because you already know that, the story about how he met Andrew Carnegie, and Andrew Carnegie was the richest man in the world at that time, and he became his mentor. That story, this is a story that you already knew, but you couldn't state me the 17 laws of success. And that is how powerful these speaking things in stories, because it sticks. It sticks in people's subconscious, where else a fact or a framework or thing you're teaching, it just stays in the conscious mind and just fizzles out quicker than they came in. So that is why this is such an important thing, and you see it all over the world. Take Russell Brunson, for example. You can take a one-to-many presentation. For example, the one he did at the 10X event. You can take a 30-minute bit of that, and in that bit, he've already told probably 10 to 15 stories. One that are minutes long, others that are just short and snappy, because he knows that he has to tell things in parables in order for it to stick in your mind. And that is why it is such a crucial thing, because he could state all the best frameworks and everything that he knows from his mind and put it directly to you and like serve it on a silver platter. But if it's not packaged in a parable or a story, it's just like it doesn't matter for people. It doesn't stick. That is why it's such an important thing. And for example, if you take other things like people who are religious, that's also parables. Like we're teaching the lessons of Christ, for example, within parables. Christ is telling parables. Bible is a whole story that is teaching you how to become like the best human being in life. So that is why it sticks. And that is why you can see people, they know the verses because it's a story. And when I first learned this, I remember that I had just bought a program from Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson's mentor, and I thought to myself, like, okay, Russell Brunson, he's done pretty good. He's probably made $1 billion on ClickFunnels and just in sales in general. So might as well just go for his mentor and see where he learned his thing from. So then I went out and bought this Dan Kennedy course. And I remember the first thing that, like the video that popped up, was this thing where he talked about, like the first claim was that you should see yourself as a fictive character. You're not a normal person being. You should be an extraordinary character. And what does these extraordinary characters do? They have parables. And he just went on and mentioned all these things. If I say, turn water into wine, walk on water, and hang on a cross, who do you think of? That's Jesus. And then he said, got bit by a spider, is a bit of a nerd, and not the coolest kid in the world. He's saving the world right now, but who do you think of? Spider-Man. That's like, you should see yourself as a fictive character, having all these parables and stories that you can tell about yourself and the thing that you're explaining in order for this to make stick. Like, it's not a coincidence, he said, that people, that like the storytellers or the novelist or the fictional story, like the ones that create, like Marvel, for example, it's not a coincidence that they told you all these stories, because they made you knew about this. Like, they forced you to know that this is Spider-Man. It's drilling the same point in time and time again with these parables. And if you are if you know Russell Brunson and you've been through his funnels, you can, like, I don't know how many times I've heard his backstory about the potato gun. It's crazy, but he has to make sure that you know this, because if you don't have context, and he's basically living rent-free in your mind just by telling a story. He could have told anything else, like he stated all the facts, but it would just fizzle out right away. And again, I went off track there, but after I watched this Dan Kennedy presentation, like, it just felt surreal, because what should I tell stories? Like, I felt like I was going back to kindergarten. Like, isn't that something that you do by a campfire, or like the school nurse, or not school nurse, but the people that's looking out for the school, like, isn't that something they tell? Like, I feel like stories, goodnight stories, like, what is this? But whenever he stated that point over and over again, like, you can see it. And why did we know this? Because they made sure we knew. Like, everything is just back to back to back, fully structured, in order for you to make noticed. But the thing is, it's done so like beautifully that you don't notice it. You don't really think of it. And that's why you make it stick. So to wrap this up, whenever you are doing a one-to-many sales presentation, again, whether it's a video sales letter, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a live seminar for a live audience, one-to-many, run with parables. Have a bank of parables that is teaching the one thing that you want to teach. Again, because if you can, no matter if you like, you can have the best framework in the world, but it won't stick in people's head if you're not telling a parable around that. And that is why you see in one of my first videos, like the videos about relationships in business, I could make a 30-second video talking about that you're not in the product business, you're in the relationship business. And that's it. It didn't even take me 30 seconds. But what I did was that I told a story about this. I told this story about how, like a few months before I filmed it, I was in a surgery, a hip surgery. And I told the story about how I met this surgeon who was going to do the surgery on me. And he was in the relationship business because he was calm. He understood me and talked to me like I was a human being. I was afraid, I was frightened for this, but he just calmed me down and was in this relationship. I feel like presence in his circle, and it was just a fantastic experience. And now think of the other thing. If that surgeon was just an asshole, I had a clipboard and just checked things off and said, come with me, and not any word. Like the other doctor, like we cracked jokes and stuff like that. So that made me loosen up. And again, this is a parable of how this relate in business, or how I learned this thing in business. That the surgeon, by him being present and by him being like focusing on the relationship instead of the product, then I turned that into a parable, and now it makes stick. It made it stick in people's head that you're in the relationship business and not a product business, because I told the story. But I could tell you that in such a short time that like it will just go through one ear and went out the other. So that is why it's such an important thing. And so next time, when you're doing any long form presentation or like one-to-many presentation, whether it's a webinar, a video sales letter, or live seminar, think of how can I build a story bank throughout my frameworks. How can I teach it through a story, because it makes it stick in people's head. All right, now on that note, I will see you guys tomorrow, and take care. Peace. Bye. I forgot to mention that if you want me to help you build out those parables so you don't just tell facts, but just start to sell through stories, then click the link in my bio, the video down below, and I will show you how I can help you script out your next video sales letter, working like your best sales rep 24/7, and the 5 extra bonuses that you're going to get with this offer as well. So watch the video. The link is down below, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Peace. Bye.